find himself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So Newhoff in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the down pedal, and approach he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down in towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. It's now Pike going to have a go at Werrell. Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such trouble. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's allowed to have fun. Yeah,
It's all about the entertainment, so I hope
everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching.
Dear.
And the Burger King machine's off into the grass a little bit there. Is that really bunching up now?
Standing out from the crowd is a challenge. You have the passion, courage, and ambition to do something extraordinary. You have an awesome story to tell and a wonderful vision to share with the world. At Eddie Videos, we take that vision and turn it into reality so you can be heard above the rest. You need something different, and we give you the ultimate advantage. We can help you transform your ideas, images, and clips into a professional video that brings your message to life and sets a new bar for excellence. Visuals, voiceovers, editing, animations, whatever you need, we've got it all. If you're a new business looking to make your mark or an experienced company searching for something new and amazing, we're here to help. Trust us to take your video to amazing levels of awesomeness.
Does he have it? Medeiros is going to get it. They're going to toss it. They haven't got it.
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such trouble. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry!
That we had last season, I suppose, but we are going to get a race where everybody has no pressure on them, and that might provide us with maybe more entertainment than usual, maybe a few unusual outcomes, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, it definitely is, and at the end of the day, we know it's just for fun, and we know that it's all up. You know, John McHutchison's taking the championship, Edward second, Maxwell third, and you know, it's just a bit of a crack. You know, I've heard John McHutchison is going to go for the last to first challenge. He's in YouTube chat saying, can he hear us? Well, and then he says that's better, so I presume he can hear us now. So, you know, it's just to round out the season, isn't it? It's nice that we're not on Nords, I'm not going to lie. I think a season finale in Nords every single time drives me crazy. So to finish off with Motorsport, 18 drivers on track, yeah, it should be a good one.
Yeah, there's plenty of them out on the circuit, which is good, and it's a great track, I've got to say. I really enjoy Motorsport with its fast and flowing nature. There will be overtaking opportunity here as well, and as you can see, the times are quite close because the lap is very short around here. It will mean a relative high amount of laps throughout the course of the race. But it should be a good one. Yeah, we'll see what John McHutchison decides to do, because last to first could well turn into a bit of a first to first in the second race, because remember we have that reverse grid for the top 10 in race 2, and if he gets to the lower part of the top 10, then he could find himself with a bit of a lonely second race. But we'll find out and see what he does over the course of qualifying, but qualifying is going to be close by the looks of it. I think that's Paul LeMay who's just behind Simon Edwards, which is a bit of a surprise from him. But it's not just about the big three today. It's not just Edwards, Maxwell, and McHutchinson about half a second clear of the rest. There's loads more involved and up there in the fight so far in practice.
Yeah, everybody's within the 112s, right? Apart from all the way down into 12th place when you hit Phil Jocelyn on the 113s. So, you know, the people, Paul Crabb, Jamie Bird, Seth Brown, Darryl Taylor, Paul Clark, go out. It's the final one. Go out, have some fun, enjoy yourself. You know, we're in the session, which is a great start. So, you know, just go and enjoy it. isn't it? Just crack on and have some fun. I'm not saying go and crash into people, because that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying go and enjoy yourself. You've had a hard 12 weeks. This race is literally now just for bragging rights to see who can finish in front of each other. So yeah, knock them out, go for it, have some fun.
Absolutely, that's what we're going to do, hopefully. As I mentioned earlier, John McCutcheon has already clinched the title. Simon Edwards is stuck in second place. He can't go any further down or further forwards in the championship. Luke Maxwell is also stuck in third. He can't go up or down either. Mike Bousson overtook Seth Brown in the standings last week, and they are going to be fighting for fourth in the standings tonight. But Bousson has qualified, or at least practiced, a little bit better than Seth Brown so far. There's 17 points between them at the moment. George Gonzaga is only a couple points further back than that, and Jamie Bird only a few points further back than that as well. 25 off of Mike Bousson. So there are 4 drivers fighting for fourth in the championship standings, and they are all going to want to finish in that fourth position, no doubt, but it's not going to be the same as a real championship fight like we saw at the end of last season. It's going to be very, very different to that. Indeed, there's Luke Maxwell, third in practice, third in the standings as well right now. But with a strong end to the season, he'll have his eyes set on the next season, hopefully, and maybe what he can do, because it hasn't been the greatest first half to his season, but he will want to be in contention again, as I believe he was for most of last season. He certainly was towards the end of season 1 of this year. And Maxwell's always one of those who are contending for those top positions, contending for the title as well. So he'll be looking to end the season on a high note here at Motorsport with this final round.
Oh yeah, I think they're all going to want to still go for it. You know what I mean? Big shout out to Rhea in YouTube chat. She's actually finished building her rig, so that's great news for Rhea as well. But then the next message I didn't quite get, but also Starfield tonight, so I won't be using my rig. Woo. What's Starfield? Maybe I'm.
We're going to get
something in, aren't we?
We're gonna get some reviews for that, because
I don't
know either.
No, exactly.
No. We're gonna take the abuse together, I think.
Yes,
and for once,
we go down on together as a team, Mr. O'Leary.
We are going to, I think, because we're going to get some shots for that one, I'm afraid. But we'll find out in a few moments' time. But yeah, hopefully people will enjoy the final round, and they've been enjoying the season as a whole, really, because it's been another great one. I think it's the first time in quite a while where we haven't actually had anything on the line at the final round of the season. Previously, of course, we all know last season John McCutcheon stole it on the last race. Simon Edwards and Luke Maxwell were fighting for it at the end of season 1, weren't they? And I think it was season 4 in 2022 the last time that we had the title set up before the finale. I think Simon Edwards had that complete from quite far out. But yeah, it's been quite a while. So 9 months since we had a race that meant effectively nothing, which says a lot about this series. I think says a lot about good things about this series, really, that we've had so many great seasons that have had things to fight for right until the very end.
Yeah, I think it gives us 2 images. One, it goes to show that, the seasons before have been amazingly close, and we've had some great racing. And, don't get me wrong, if it come down to the season finale decider, me and you would be absolutely in our element. We'd love the fact that it would come down to this last one. Can you imagine Motorsport, the last one, with everybody in the chance of winning the championship? It would be absolutely amazing. But it also really does show how John McCutcheon has driven this season. The fact that he's wrapped it up before we've even got on to the final race just says how well that Scotsman has driven here this season. And he has been unstoppable. He's been unparalleled this season. He's been amazing. And I think, no disrespect to Edwards. Edwards has put up a fight. Maxwell's put up a fight when he's here. They've all gone out really well. But for John McCutcheon to wrap it up before we've even got to Motorsport is incredible. And I'd like to point out, Rhea's come back and said it's Bethesda's newest game, a huge space RPG that's getting amazing reviews, apparently.
Well, we learn something new every day. to us. It sounded like a film to me, but
yeah, I thought it was that as well. I thought you were going to the cinema or something.
yeah, yes, but no,
Clearly not.
it is very difficult to pull yourself away from a new game that you've just got addicted to, though. So I understand that totally, because
Oh, yes.
we've all been there. Or anyone watching this anyway has certainly been there, I would imagine. By the way, just on that point you mentioned about John McCutcheon having driven so well over the course of this season, he's likely going to score more than 500 points. In fact, he's definitely going to score more than 500 points over the course of this season. And when there's a possible 585 to score, and he's still got the chance to score, 541 or something like that? You know, he's got the possibility to have only dropped 44 points over the course of the rounds so far this season. Of course, that does incorporate 3 drop rounds, so any points that he dropped on those rounds are not factored into that equation. But even so, for over the course of 9 rounds to have only dropped 44 points, that would be incredible. Although we are hearing that he may well start from the back in this first race, thus making that double win tonight a little bit more difficult. Qualifying is just underway then, and this is not going to take all that very long, really. We're in the 1 minute 12. If anyone gets the 1 minute 11, then they're going to be on the front row, I'd imagine. I'd be somewhat surprised if we see one, actually. But this is all going to be a very quick session where everything is done pretty early on in the 10 minutes, because it's not a very long lap around here at all.
No, exactly, and I think they've only got 3 laps, so at the end of the day, it's just going to be very short, sweet. I mean, you might have to waffle on for a little bit. However, Rhea is keeping us mind in YouTube chat as well. I'd be surprised, but 45 dot on iRacing is more of a hobby and less of like a normal gamer game.
Yeah, it's hard to. I don't know what the word is, but yeah, iRacing's a little bit harder to sort of get addicted to and not stop playing for a whole day, if you see what I mean. I certainly get very frustrated at some point. Not necessarily because of iRacing, but because of me, which is generally the problem.
But hold on, don't you drive on a laptop with a steering wheel attached to a desk?
Well, it's not even attached to a desk. It's attached to a stand, which is put near my desk, and just in a place where I can see the screen still. It's a bit.
So what are you expecting, my dear sir?
Well, yeah, I suppose you could use that argument, couldn't you?
Yeah.
But yes, I'll be putting on my best effort later on tonight if you want to watch on the JPB YouTube channel again, because it'll be triple bypass racing time again. But anyway, that's early in the morning. For now, let's get on with qualifying, shall we? Just 3 sectors around here, by the way, just because of the shortness of the circuit that I mentioned earlier on. Simon Edwards has gone quickest in the first sector, and they've got this run down the Andretti Straight towards the final few corners, where the final sector is situated. There is Simon Edwards in his famous blue and purple, if you like. Another purple sector in the second one, going faster than the likes of Paul Clark, who has got out immediately and will be setting an early time along with the 5-time champion. Into the final corner now for Edwards. He's looking pretty tidy, in all honesty, and it will be the benchmark for everybody to beat for Simon Edwards. We'll see where everybody else can go and how close they can get to that opening time.
Yeah, I think Edwards is going to go out and try and make a statement here. We know, obviously, from Hutch's point of view, he's not even on the track at the moment, and I'd be very surprised if he does. So, you know, I don't want that to take away from Simon Edwards if he does go and win, of course. Oh, John was at the back and all of this sort of stuff. I don't want any of that. At the end of the day, the man's where he is on merit, right? Simon Edwards, 5-time champion, you know, he's no slouch in the SR10s, right, or the SR8s. He's exceptionally quick in general. So I wasn't surprised the fact that he's on pole. I am surprised about the fact that Dela Cruz is right up there in second at the moment, which is doing an absolutely stellar job. Motorsport itself, great track, as we said, fast flowing, get it hooked up. But it does come with its problems. Now, especially this corner here that Luke is going on to turn 2. If you're on the outside, enjoy the grass there, because it's tricky, isn't it, Ewan? You know, there's certain parts of it that basically can kill you as it does much as reward you for great driving.
Yeah, and this is the version of this circuit that doesn't have the tarmac on the outside of turn 2, which it does in real life now. The iRacing version doesn't have that, and I hope that it won't in the future as well, even if it isn't entirely realistic anymore. It's more of a challenge than the real life circuit, in all honesty, these days, as Michael LeMay puts in a storming lap time there. I'm not sure if it was him maybe who was up there in practice now. I'm starting to doubt myself, but him and Paul LeMay are both here
Paul's
tonight.
back.
Yeah, Paul is back. He's down there in 8th place at the moment, but maybe it was him. It was Michael who was up there in the top 5 during practice. This is Luke Maxwell in the final sector as well, looking to get towards that 12-1 that Edwards has done. Maxwell goes over the line now, and I don't think was taking that at full pace, but he's into 9th anyway, and with a 13.2, just over a second back.
Yeah, John McCutcheon is apparently watching the football, and then he's put Mon the Dons.
Whoever they are.
Whoever they are, yeah.
Aberdeen, I guess, maybe. I don't know. That could be extremely offensive if he thought someone else.
I was going to say Celtic or Rangers, but I don't know which one to pick.
Well, they're not playing tonight, so it can't be one of them, I wouldn't imagine. Unless he's watching an old game. Then no, I don't think it can be Celtic or Rangers, but I suppose you never know. It's the kind of stereotypical teams, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Ria's digging at my age in YouTube chat. That's not very nice. Picking on the fact that I'm 45. I was saying you're 45, implying you aren't the general gaming demographic, and that iRacing isn't really a gamer's game, so the people on it not all being hardcore gamers isn't surprising. So there you go.
You going to take offence to that?
No, not really, because do you know what, right? I, as a person, and as obviously JPB, run the company, own it, the whole kit and caboodle, give these lovely young commentators all of this out, getting their voice out there and working. I never play iRacing. Right, I haven't even got my rig anymore. My son's got it. I never play it purely because it gets to the point when you're doing 14, 15 times a week. It gets to the point where I just sit back and go, I love the game, I love the commentary, I love what I do. Obviously, you can hear that every time we commentate, but I just don't want much to do with it when I'm not out working in the booth. And I might go and mess around with Fortnite with my boy, or I might go on Path of Exile, which is my new league release, not gonna lie, pretty good. So I've been hitting that as well. So for me, I love iRacing and everything that I do, but when I'm not in it, the last thing I want to do is drive. I've got to be honest, it just, I don't know, it's weird.
That's fair enough. It's it is difficult when you're not fully into it to get into it particularly. But yeah, it's nice to do now and again, and that's why I do generally. But not very often, I must say. Luke Maxwell is at the top of the standings then, and John McCutcheon is giving us something to watch here later on. I'm very glad that he's done this, because it means that our session's not all over in 5 minutes. Luke Maxwell has taken the pole then, ahead, or the provisional pole right now, ahead of Simon Edwards, and then Michael LeMay, who I think is third, ahead of Sergio De La Cruz, and then Paul LeMay. It could get quite confusing with those two.
Paul first, Michael second.
Oh, is it?
Yep, sorry.
I told you it would get confusing, and it already has. Stumped me already. John McCutcheon goes up to third, though. He's only 2 tenths away from pole. Maybe he could steal this right to the end.
Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed. I thought I was going to see a Scottish William Wallace last to first challenge, but clearly he decided enough was enough and he didn't want to be too far back. So he's gone out and pinged it in one, and he's green in sector 1. He's still flying nicely along. I probably expect this to be a late 111, maybe a 112.10, something like that, to be fair, to keep him up there. Good evening, Phil. Welcome in. Thanks so much for joining us, buddy. Hope you are well as always. But yeah, I'm a bit disappointed that he hasn't done a last to first, but I'm also not surprised that he hasn't, because John's competitive edge here, doesn't it? He wouldn't want to be doing that as such as well. So as you say, gives us something to watch for the last couple of minutes, otherwise it'd just be me and you waffling on like a trooper.
Yeah, he's trying not to drop too many points, clearly, over the course of the final round, but let's see what this last lap time will be. It could be quite close, this, to pole. Oh, it is quite close. It's a 12-0, and John McCutcheon gets very close to toppling Luke Maxwell there, but can't quite do it. That was surprising as well, because he didn't have any purple sectors in that final lap, but was just consistent across the board and came within, 400ths of getting pole there.
Exactly, yeah, he's done a great job. I'm trying to catch up with what Rhea's talking about. To be fair, that wasn't really a dig at your age. I didn't say you're old. You're just that you aren't the demographic for most games. You are old though. That was a dig. So, yeah, much love to you, Rhea. Thanks very much for that. You wait till you're on track for the BSC. Don't forget I'm in the booth. Let's just put it that way. You know what I mean?
We'll all be 45 once as well.
Yeah. I might be there, but you're gonna catch. You're not gonna catch me up because I'm always gonna be ahead of you. But you will be there at one point. I can tell you that much. Anyway, there's the grid for you, sir.
It certainly will. Let's get a bit more serious, shall we? Because we're getting towards the race. You can tell it's the final race of the season, can't you? A bit more relaxed. Luke Maxwell and John McCutcheon on the front row, then ahead of Simon Edwards and Paul LeMay. Sergio De La Cruz and Michael LeMay will be on row 3, ahead of Paul Clark and Paul Crabb. Then it's Darrell Taylor and George Gonzaga to round out the top 10. Jamie Bird is just ahead of Paul Godden on row 6. Then it's Mike Bousson and Seth Brown, who have both qualified a long way back for those two. They're on row 7, ahead of Phil Jocelyn and Phil Glover. And Tim Adcock and Robert Woodward round out the 18-car grid for this first race of the evening, and hopefully they'll all return for the second one as well. But yes, it's Maxwell and McCutcheon on the front. Two big surprises for me are Bousson and Brown on row 7. They're way back for, drivers who are challenging for top 5s in this championship.
Yeah, I am surprised by that, but in a way, I'm kind of not, because of the nature of what Motorsport brings. And some people can get on with it. Some people can go hurtling into turn 1 and they can deal with that situation, and they can deal with a run down the hill and catch the bump on the inside of turn 2 and let it naturally come over. They can cope with all that. And then some people just don't get on with it. And it looks like Mike and Seth here have had a bit of a nightmare, but I'm sure they'll get on and come and join us and, be at the front.
Well, still waiting for some reason. Now here we go. The lights will come on now. It will be Luke Maxwell and John McCutcheon, the champion in waiting on the front row here for the first race in Motorsport. We're underway, and it's a very even start over the course of the top 5 or so. Michael LeMay looks to be going backwards a little bit from 6th, I'm afraid, and already drops to 10th as they go through turn 1. It's single file through here, no big braking zone, and so no big changes either. It will be side by side for 11th with Bousson and Gonzaga. That looks to be the first battle, really, and Mike Bousson has got through, has he? Yes. You can just see in the orange ahead of George Gonzaga, who's going to get very nearly hit by Paul Godden, who dived deep on the brakes into turn 3.
Yeah, Paul Godden there getting a little bit hot, and Seth Brown nearly making contact with him as well, but Maxwell got a jump. They're off round now, out by turn 4. They're doing an absolutely stellar job flying along and up the Andretti for the first time here as well. We haven't got many. We've only got 12 laps of race 1. Then we've got 20 of race 2, and at the moment Luke Maxwell, John McCutcheon, Simon Edwards, Paul LeMay. As you say, Michael LeMay down 4, did not get off the line very well there as well. I think, no, it's not. I want to go back to Darrell Taylor, who's just got past Paul Clark, and now Jamie Bird is having a go as well.
Oh, it's very close between Jamie Bird and Paul Clark, and Clark is forced out wide. He will have to slot back in behind Bird and slot into 9th place. So opening lap complete, everybody's got through rather nicely there through the opening lap of the race. Sergio De La Cruz goes a bit wide through turn 1, and Paul Crabb will challenge him as a result of that. There he is in the yellow. Not seen too much of Paul Crabb over the course of this season, unfortunately, but has made his reappearance here tonight, looking for that top 5 right now, which is currently being held by Sergio De La Cruz. He's putting on a good drive for now, and Paul LeMay deserves a bit of a shout out as well for staying with the 3 leaders who have been so dominant over the course of this season. LeMay is becoming one of them at the moment in that top 4.
Yeah, we know he's had most of the season off. He's hurt I think it was his wrist or his arm, I think it was, and he's been out with an injury and he couldn't drive in the car, right? And that's fair enough. And for Paul to come back and be in that top 4 and chasing him down, as we see Crabb here, where are you going to go, dear sir? Are you going to try to switch back underneath? Normally the outside one line is better because it gives you the inside line for this one. If you can get your nose in front, you'll have the inside here, and for Paul Crabb, nothing doing there at the moment. But for the likes of LeMay, he's had a blinding race back. He's not far away from Edwards. He can use the draft up the Andre to stay with these guys up front as well, as we just see Paul Crabb in the background go a little bit sideways there. So for Paul LeMay, stick with him, see how high you can get. It does make you wonder sometimes with Paul. He has a cracking start to the season, and then something happens mid-season, and he starts drifting off a little bit. He almost reminds me of Spurs. Oh, McCutcheon's off. Is he going to stop?
Oh, it could be bad, this. Oh, he's drifting onto the road. Oh, and Sergio De La Cruz very nearly collects him. John with great presence of mind there just to lock it all up before clattering into everybody, which is what he would have done down at Moss Corner there. But thankfully he's avoided it. He's having trouble getting going again there due to the gradient, but he is now. And Luke Maxwell is under pressure from Simon Edwards. It just won't relent for him now. Edwards round the outside and towards the final few corners. This is high-stakes stuff now at high speed as well in these final few turns. Oh, contact. And Edwards is through. Maxwell's wide. Spins in front of the field. And he's going to have to reverse out the way as well. 2 of the top 4 drop way out of contention on lap 3.
Yeah, but now we're going to have Maxwell and Hutchinson near enough together here. And what's Woodward going to do in his racing pointless car? So John McHutchinson now has got to go through him. He's got to go through Maxwell as well. We've got Simon Edwards out in front. And now look who's in second place. It's the man that we were just talking about, Mr. Paul LeMay from Two Brothers. So go on, Paul, have it, son, on the last one. And then Sergio De La Cruz is leading a bit of a train of Crabb, Taylor, Bird, and also Paul Clark. So, De La Cruz is kind of the cork in the bottle. Everybody's trying to get through on him, and Paul Crabb is into the barrier. So unfortunately for Crabb, he's in the barrier. Maxwell's chasing down Seth Brown, but it's all going off up here with Darrell Taylor and Jamie Bird.
Seth Brown also went off on that lap, by the way, and Robert Woodward currently off the road as well. I think down at Moss Corner at the moment. John McCutcheon's going to gain a place as a result of that. But Darrell Taylor on the defensive now from Jamie Bird, who started 11th, by the way. Bird is flying, as his name would suggest, maybe. He's looking for that 4th in the championship. It's quite a long shot for him to get there, but with some of his rivals having a pretty disastrous opening race of the day, then maybe Jamie Bird can pull off a miracle here tonight. He's back in 5th place now. Darrell Taylor fends him off in the final few corners here, but this is great action so far. This circuit takes no prisoners, and we've seen 2 of the big names fall by the wayside already.
Yeah, definitely. Hutch got it wrong coming out of turn 4, dropping it down the hill, didn't quite get the rotation in the car, and then Maxwell, as you see, got I don't want to say forcibly sent wide by Edwards, because it didn't look like they were going to actually make contact, but Edwards and Maxwell going around the final, I think it was second to last corner. So from that point of view, the likes of Taylor, the likes of Martinez, the likes of even Paul LeMay, who's tucked up right behind Edwards, have got a great opportunity here, and go and take it, give it your all. It's the last one. Go on the outside, son, as it comes in now. Is he going to be able to make it round the outside of turn 9? He's going to keep hanging on. Go on, Paul, hang it on, son. Round the left-hander he goes. Edwards still on the outside. He's not relenting. Edwards is like a dog with a bone with that first place, and he manages to hold on. But this is what I mean. Last race, nothing on the line. Go on, go for it.
Yeah. It does feel like everybody's just racing with a bit of a free hit here, and that's great to see. LeMay so close to the back of Edwards here. He'll be getting a whole load of dirty air as a result of that, and he's going to have a terrible time through turn 2. You can just see the gap open slightly as a result of a bit of understeer. He tries to compensate in turn 3, and that's not going to go well for him. He will just fall a little bit further back, but they're quite considerably ahead of the rest of the field here. Sergio De La Cruz is in third right now, ahead of Darrell Taylor, then Jamie Bird to round out your top 5. But look at the gap, 3.5 seconds. These guys have got free rein to fight with one another.
Yeah, watch this gap come down. 4 tenths on the left at the moment, right? Now he's going to hook in. Here we go. And now he is just literally going to be reeling him in. 3 tenths, 2 tenths. He's got the right hander of 8 here as well. 1 tenth. Go on. Oh, he's just not quite getting there. He just loses a little bit too much time through 2 and 3, and then he just unfortunately can't get it back before he gets onto the Andretti, and unfortunately that's where he needs it the most. That's where he needs the exit for Paul LeMay. He needs to get out the double right-hander of Moss out of turn 4 and literally get as close as he can. He just got to be right up there as well as LeMay, and he's doing a great job.
Oh no, LeMay!
No!
Oh, what a save this would be! And he's... Oh, has he done it? No, he's not! He's in the wall! Paul LeMay is in the wall, I'm afraid. And what a battle this is going to be for second now, by the way, because everybody's gone through on Paul LeMay, who just clipped the grass on the way in towards turn 2, and it's ended in disaster for him. Darrell Taylor's now second, with Jamie Bird on the podium all of a sudden. Mike Boussa's there as well, and Sergio De La Cruz, for whatever reason, dropped 3 positions within a lap here. I'm not convinced that he doesn't have damage, actually. I think something must be wrong with Sergio De La Cruz's car, because he got overtook by Taylor and Bird in one straight last lap. Let's see if he's back up to speed this time. Darrell Taylor will certainly need to be, because Jamie Bird's all over him. Mike Boussa's there as well, maybe looking to make it 3 wide. He'll look to the outside of them all. Oh, that's going to be a squeeze. Jamie Bird through the middle. He'll fly into second place. What a great move from Jamie Bird. And here goes Mike Boussa as well for third. He's got it into that podium position. What a fantastic bit of battling that was. But Darrell Taylor drops from second to fourth out of all of that. And now he's got Sergio De La Cruz right behind him.
Oh, do you know what? I honestly was hoping Darrell would hang on there as well, and he just got done on that Andretti and done round turn 9. No, don't put him on the outside, De La Cruz. That's just flat out nasty there as well. Unfortunately for turn 2, De La Cruz has now got super wide Paul Clark behind him. We know Paul, as he's defending, he just literally is a defensive. Oh, Bird's off! Oh
no!
Bird's in the wall!
Oh, such a good recovery drive from outside of the top 10 in qualifying. He'll have damage now, surely. Let's have a look. Oh, that's... You can tell. You can tell that that's left hand down, if ever I've seen it. Jamie Bird is either going to have to soldier on with that, or he's going to have to come into the pit lane, either of which is going to drop him outside the top 10, I would imagine.
Yeah, but now look who's in third. Darrell Taylor.
So, back again.
It's back again. Can he hold on now as well? Am I mistaken in saying this would be Taylor's first podium?
Don't know about ever, but...
no, this season.
Oh, this season? Maybe. It's possible, although you know what my memory's like for these kind of statistics. And also starting those kind of sensitives without knowing the answer to the end of the sentence. But anyway, that's...
well, I'm all the way back in Laguna, and there isn't anything there, so maybe it is, you know.
I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. I'm not willing to go out on quite such a limb, but it is an odd look to the field for race 1, I've got to say, with no disrespect to some of the names in the top 10 at the moment, like Darrell Taylor, like Paul Clark's in here as well. I suppose that's more understandable as well, but yeah, it's been a chaotic race so far. Paul LeMay makes his way ahead of Jamie Bird. That would be a story of 2 damaged cars, you'd imagine. LeMay has been in the wall. Bird has been a bit more severely. Bird is choosing to continue on here and try and hold on to a top 10, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to manage it. Look at that. LeMay right hand down, Bird left hand down, and I think they've got roughly the same amount of damage, actually.
It does, doesn't it? Paul's like hanging on there as well. And what's Jamie Bird? He's like even the opposite way. So they're trying to put that extra steering in to get the car to rotate. You can see he's almost like over half lock to go around the left-hander there. Sergio De La Cruz is now up up behind Darrell Taylor. Can Taylor hang on for what I do believe to be his first podium? I can't think of any other point where Taylor's been on pole, you know, and now I'm racking my brains. I might have to go on a hunt and see if I'm right or wrong.
We'll try and find out with just over 2.5 laps remaining in the race. Mike Boussin is fairly secure in second place, and Simon Edwards is miles in front in the lead. He would have liked this to have happened last week to keep the title chances alive and the fight alive, but that certainly didn't happen for him. Out towards the straight again for Darrell Taylor as he continues to try and hold on for this podium. Sergio De La Cruz is in the slipstream right now, and he's going to have a chance at the outside line. It will have to be at turn 8 at the end of the Mario Andretti straight. He's braked a little bit later, a little bit more committed. Around he goes, squeezing Taylor as much as possible, but he will do the same in the second part. And Daryl Taylor will hold on again. Just 2 more laps for him now to try and take this podium all the way to the line.
No, this won't be his first one. His first one was at round 3 at Knock Hill. He finished 3rd in the feature race. So he got a 3rd in Knock Hill, did Daryl Taylor. So it won't be his first one anyway, but will it be his second one? If I'm not mistaken, it will be. So this will be his second podium of the season if Daryl Taylor could just hang on for that little bit more here, as well as we're on lap 11 out of 12. Maxwell fighting it out here. He's got Phil Glover in front of him, so you would, on theory, on paper, on speed, expect Luke to get through. But now we're going to be going on to that final lap. Let's see if we can hang on and see what Daryl Taylor can do.
Yeah, I would like to say I've got a vague recollection of it, but I simply don't. Daryl Taylor is looking to take his second podium then. It's not going to be towards the final lap, though. Sergio De La Cruz is through. It's going to be for Taylor now to stay close behind and then try and go through on the final lap here. He's going to have to be close and get a good exit off of Moss Corner and then go for it exactly like De La Cruz did there, because that's really the only chance you have around this circuit.
Yeah, there's one place. You know, you're going to put it up anywhere else, you're going to be in desperate trouble. Turn 2, forget it. Turn 3, he's not close enough anyway. He's not going to be able to get out the inside. Get it on the run down into 4? Nope, absolutely not. We've seen that with McCutchinson, and look at how that ended up for him as well. In through 5, the double right-hander on Moss. Nope, he just needs to stay close coming out of this corner. This is it for Daryl Taylor. He needs to just be as close as he can to De La Cruz and get that run. He's opened up half a second to Clark, but he has got that run. Is it going to be for Daryl Taylor, and is he going to get this before they get up into turn 7, I believe?
Yes, let's see. As we go up into the final few corners, Taylor will be on the outside and he'll try and go for this podium. It's going to be De La Cruz who holds on the inside, though. Further in front, Simon Edwards takes the race 1 victory here at Motorsport ahead of Mike Booson, who will come across the line second. And Sergio De La Cruz will just about hold on for 3rd, with Daryl Taylor and Paul Clark very close behind. In the end, Taylor had one chance. He gave it a go, but it wasn't quite enough.
Yeah, he just didn't quite have the massive, he just didn't quite get the overspeed, and unfortunately for him, he just didn't quite get the run out of through 8 to allow him to have the inside for 9. And at the end of the day, I think it's still it's a shame, but he just didn't quite have it enough to basically be able to stay in that area with him. Now, George Gonzaga, I'm not quite sure what happened to George here, but he's a lap down. What did happen to George Gonzaga? Is this what happened to George Gonzaga here?
Well, it looks like he's already on his own, but this was the nail in the coffin for him, maybe. Into the wall pretty hard there, into the tyres. Sort of scrapes along them, maybe, but there we go. Now iRacing will not enjoy us there as we're watching a replay of the session that's completed, but anyway, it will have to deal with it. Simon Edwards is the winner ahead of Mike Booson and then Sergio De La Cruz. Daryl Taylor in 4th place ahead of Paul Clark. Then it was Michael LeMay in 6th ahead of Paul Crabb. Paul LeMay was 8th ahead of Phil Justin and Paul Godden to round out the top 10. He will be on pole for race 2, all being well. Phil Glover will be 11th ahead of Luke Maxwell, who couldn't quite get back to the top 10 again. I think he had problems on the last lap as well, actually. Seth Brown was the final driver to finish on the lead lap. Then Jamie Bird and George Gonzaga 1 lap down. Tim Adcock a couple down. Robert Woodward and John McCutcheon a few more than that. McCutcheon never actually re-emerged from the pit lane. Can't imagine he was watching the football anymore, because I'm afraid to say his team conceded another one. And they're now 2 down. So apologies for bringing that up to John. But anyway.
So are we saying it's Aberdeen?
Yes, it's that is their nickname. I've learnt something tonight at least. And
did you Google it?
Well, I use the internet. Yes, put it that way. I didn't just uncover that knowledge myself. No.
I was going to say.
If that's what you're asking.
I was going to say.
No, so McCutcheon's not going to be very happy, but it's going to be interesting and fun to watch him in this final race of the season. He knows he's champion. There's no pressure on him. We can watch him drive through the field now from 18th.
Yeah, this would be an interesting one. We've got 23 seconds left of this practice session, and as I say, Hutchinson's going to be round the back. I know he wanted a last to first, but I don't know if he actually wanted it that way. And Ria's in YouTube thinks she's going to be in first place next week for the BSC. So we'll see. Now she's got a wriggle set up apparently, but we will see how that one pans out here as well. But for now, triple bypass later with our very own Ewan O'Leary from Five Flag Speedway. Later on, about 2 o'clock, I believe, give or take, if you are still awake or in the UK. So, that's going to be an exciting one. And you can watch Ewan drive around Five Flags.
Yes, a terrible track, I've got to say. Well, it's terrible for me because I'm not very... I don't like it and I'm not very good at it, but I'm sure it'll be a good race. Paul Godden will be on the front then of this final race of the Radical Race Series season. It will be Phil Jocelyn alongside with Paul LeMay and Paul Crabb on row 2. Michael LeMay will be alongside Paul Clark for row 3 ahead of Darrell Taylor and Fergie de la Cruz. And Mike Bousson is with Simon Edwards to round out that reverse grid top 10. Phil Glover will be alongside Luke Maxwell on row 6. Then it will be Seth Brown and Jamie Bird who will look to have the same start that he did in race 1, which saw him gain nearly 10 places over the course. George Gonzaga and Termine Cook will be ahead of Robert Woodward and John McCutcheon to round off the back row of the grid. One last race in the Radical Race Series season for Season 3 in 2023. Paul Godden getting off to a good start. It's not a good one, I'm afraid, for... who's that? Susie de la Cruz, I think, in the pack, who's gone backwards. Phil Jocelyn has gone from the front row all the way to 10th already. For whatever reason, Susie de la Cruz is already and still stationary on the start-finish line. Don't know what's going on there. Darrell Taylor's off the road. He's going to find himself in the wall. Oh, Darrell Taylor, after such a good opening race, nearly finding himself on the podium, is in the grass and in the wall now on lap 1.
Yeah, race 2's not been a good start. It was Phil Jocelyn who didn't go anywhere off that line. You're not entirely sure why he didn't, but for whatever reason, he didn't go anywhere. De La Cruz is up and running now. Again, another man that was just flat out stationary, but it is Paul Godden. Don't forget, one of our sponsors here as well with HPE Automotive and iLounge Racing as well. All links down in the description below. You can go and check them out. But Paul Godden from that Sim Stickers Sim Life is out in front. But look at Paul LeMay and Paul Crabb side by side. In through 8 they go. Are they going to be able to hold this one? Yes, they do. And Paul LeMay manages to slot back in and unfortunately enough doesn't get himself involved in with Paul Crabb. But Crabb's pushing Godden here at the moment.
Certainly is. They're all pushing Paul Godden. Here goes Paul Crabb on the inside at turn 1. And he will go through. By the looks of it, Godden held on for a lap, but not much longer. Oh, into the grass there was Crabb. Oh, contact! LeMay makes contact. Wow, that was close. You very rarely see people get away with that, but they have done. Luke Maxwell hasn't. He's off in the background. He's in the wall, is Luke Maxwell. It's a disaster final day for Luke Maxwell in the season where he's going to finish 3rd. He nearly collided with his rival, long-time rival, of course, Simon Edwards there. I don't think they did make contact. He certainly did hit the wall.
Yeah, he did definitely hit the wall. They didn't make contact, which was good. But Paul Crabb is doing a flying start. Paul LeMay into 2nd. Paul Godden now down 3rd. Michael LeMay up in 4th with Bousson and Edwards, and then Paul Clark and Jamie Bird there. Look at this with Bousson and LeMay. Are they going to be looking at taking this 3 wide down into turn 8? Well, time's going to tell. And at the moment they're not. But Paul Godden is kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. What I would do if I was Michael LeMay, I would send it out the inside. Get Godden trapped in, Bousson trapped in behind Godden and say, you can stay there, son, but don't. No!
Oh, no! Michael LeMay and Simon Edwards make contact at the final turn, and what's that going to do to the car of Simon Edwards? Jamie Bird is making another fantastic start. I think he's up 7 already. Getting very good at this. Maybe it's not a good thing that he's getting good at it, because that means he's often starting from near the back, whether that's due to qualifying or a poor first race, but he's getting a lot of practice and he's getting quite good at it as well. Up to 7th place, he's just ahead of John McCutcheon, who's gained 10 places so far as well. There have been some big movers forward in the opening 3 laps of this one.
Yeah, McCutchinson up 10, Bird up 7, and we've got Buson and Edwards both up 5. Of course, the man up front is the Irishman Paul Crabb. He's up 3, of course, with Paul LeMay also up 1. Darrell Taylor looks like he may have had another moment here, and I'm sure he's not going to love me for showing this as he's coming down into turn 1. I can probably guarantee he's done something on the exit. Yes, he has, and into the wall goes Darrell Taylor, unfortunately, so not ideal. Buson's just cleared Paul Godden. I think Paul's on a I'm going to pick my battle moment, whereas, you know, last race of the season, Paul, just go for it. Have some fun with it, go for it. Put yourself in, see where your pace lies before you go into next season, see if you can keep up with the likes of McCutchinson and Edwards here.
He didn't really want to get in the way of Mike Buson there, really, did he? But
No.
You wouldn't blame him for trying, I suppose, but clearly didn't want to get in everyone else's way. Simon Edwards will be next for Godden, and there could be a lot of defending to do over the course of the 20 laps here, judging by this group you've got on your screen right now. Simon Edwards even having a look up the inside at turn 3 there. It could be quite a long race for Godden. Look how many drivers there are behind him. That's, 6 cars maybe that may overtake him in the course of this race.
Yeah, he's got to find where his pace is, don't get me wrong, and who he's going to be racing. I don't know if the likes of Phil Jocelyn and Seth Brown would get through, not going to lie. Paul's generally been around about their pace all season, so I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of settled in there and ended up down in like 7th, maybe 8th here. But the likes of Edwards, I would thought Paul Clark, Jamie Bird maybe, as Edwards going to go around the outside of 8. That's going to give him the inside of 9. Can Edwards get that car stopped, mind you? He does, and still gets it back on the racing line. Seth Brown, and then we've got Gonzaga and Woodward and Glover. Taylor is into the pits, of course. Maxwell's out as well, so unfortunately for Luke Maxwell, not a great end, but as you say, last race of the season he's wrapped up third place. But back up front, Paul Crabb, Paul LeMay fighting out.
They certainly are. I was surprised actually that Crabb's been caught here, but I guess he's not raced so much this season, maybe a little bit out of practice, but it won't take him too long to get into the groove, you wouldn't imagine. That wasn't a very good exit off of turn 3 though, and he's going to be overtaken by LeMay there. Paul LeMay makes it into the lead then. Arguably should have done this during race 1. He was challenging Simon Edwards enough, but couldn't quite seal the deal. He has done there, but Mike Buson has got off. Well, he's just got a bit too deep into Moscow, and he's got on the grass and he's spun around, drops outside the top 10.
Yeah, I'm hoping there's not contact. I don't believe there was contact with Edwards. I think Buson's just kind of dropped this all on his own, to be fair, as he's coming into Moss now on the exit. Oh no, it catches the curb. The curb's gonna, the car's gonna over-rotate, and around it goes. Now, did you notice what Paul Crabb did, right? And I'm going to say this because he did do it, and I think he might do the same thing again. His exit out of 3, he allows LeMay through down on the run to 4, and then he gets LeMay back on the Andretti, and he did it the last lap as well. So whether or not Paul Crabb's tactics are just to let him through, get him on the Andretti, let him back through again, well, we're going to find out right now, to be fair.
We are. See what he does this time on the way down towards 4. Well, he's going to stay in front by the looks of it. I think they need to work together, in all honesty, to keep Simon Edwards at bay. That's certainly what I've been thinking at this stage for these two, because Edwards is lurking there at a second and a half back. Crabb and LeMay are still pretty close. Oh, Paul Godden's off the road, I'm afraid. That's at Moss Corner. Oh, he's been into the wall as well. Thought he'd get away without it, like Buson did. Buson's made the same mistake again, I think, as well. Down there. There goes Crabb, making a very long route around that gentle right-handed bend, which is the back straight, even if it isn't exactly straight. And Paul LeMay is now in the lead. They're just exchanging that position for the moment.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure that's probably the brightest idea when you've got the 5-time champion behind you. Hutchinson and Jamie Bird, I'd love to see Bird get a podium tonight. I'm not going to lie. You know, for Jamie Bird, there are times with Bird this season where he's been incredibly quick. And then there's times he's not. It's just, for Jamie Bird, he's such an unlucky man. I'd love to see him do well in the final race, and he was doing so well in race 1 as well. Such a shame, really, for Jamie Bird.
Yep, it certainly is. Still a lot of battles going on, by the way. That one for the lead is not going away, but even though Paul LeMay has stretched out the gap a little bit, John McCutcheon is just ahead of Jamie Bird now, who's being hassled by That's Seth Brown. And then there's Robert Woodward holding off Phil Glover, and Michael LeMay as well, although Robert Woodward now has spoiled that a little bit by going off the road himself down at Moss Corner, and he's back to pit lane. This is proving to be a very difficult circuit indeed, and we've already got 4 drivers back to pit lane.
Yeah, Gonzaga, Woodward and Buson, of course. I think Gonzaga's point of view, you'll have a look, it probably was down the run as well. Is that final penultimate corner, isn't it, for Gonzaga there?
Yeah.
But he's also gone off. Was this just him recovering here, or did he actually just go off again? No, he went off again.
That's exactly what he did in race 1, wasn't it? But goodness me, that tyre wall's bouncy. He flies back onto the circuit, and thankfully there's no one around to witness it. Gonzaga will likely end his season in the pit lane. Jamie Bird still trying to hold on from Seth Brown here. This is the fight for 6th place, one of the closer ones as well, as Phil Glover goes off the road further back, Paul Godden as well. This circuit is really, really tricky now. There's Godden. I think Glover's off of the next corner. He's indeed on the exit. Well, this is proving to be very, very tricky for everyone.
Yeah, and it's going to be tricky for the Irishman, not to be fair. He's got Simon Edwards right behind him. Edwards is going to sweep round the outside. Watch this move get done. You're not going to see anything more than pure class at this moment. He's going to go, send it in deep. He's going to carry a massive amount of overspeed, and he'll get...
Oh, no! Contact!
Both
into the wall. Oh, Paul Crabb and Simon Edwards both into the wall, and I think he's damaged badly, Simon Edwards. Oh dear, the championship contender is going to end his season in the pit lane, you'd imagine, as well, because he's got 3 wheels on his wagon at the moment, or at least 3 suspensions.
Yeah, so, not an ideal scenario for them, is it really? Watch. He gets contact and then he just can't stop it in the end as well. Ow!
Oh. Yeah, it's that tyre wall there that just brings you to a dead stop, and he hits in. Paul Crabb does as well. What an attritional race this has been.
Oh, somebody else
so far.
Was it? Oh, no. Okay, maybe in my eyes. Never look away from a screen and then look back really quickly, by the way, because you react like that. Apologies.
So a third of the field are now out of this race, or at least having to take a trip down pit lane, because George Gonzaga has already recovered, as has Paul Crabb, actually, already having recovered from that incident. Simon Edwards is back out on the road again. How's that possible already? So the top 10 are still out there, having not pitted, but not many more. John McCutchinson makes his way through into second now then. And that's an easy pass around the outside of Paul Clark there, and he can set his sights on Paul LeMay, although that's a big gap to cross in the second half of this race.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for Edwards, for McCutchinson, 4.7 seconds. He's got 10 laps to do it. He's pulling out barely a 10th per lap here. LeMay 1:12.7, Hutch 1:12.6, so it's going to be tough there. Bird is now trying to get onto the back of Clark. This is more likely with Jamie Bird and Seth Brown. To be honest, if I was Seth Brown, I'd see Paul Clark and just work with with Bird. I wouldn't put him under pressure. I wouldn't really see the point, to be honest. Work with the guy, let him drag you into Paul Clark. There's a podium at stake, then try and get him, I think, for Brown. Brown's another one. He showed such incredible pace at the beginning of the season, and it's just kind of fizzled out a little bit. You know, he started with a bang, and then he's just kind of gone out with a little bit of a whistle. Bless him.
Yeah, whistle or fizzle, whatever you want to say, really. Robert Woodward is questioning if anyone likes this track.
I do.
But yeah, I mean, it's good, but it's very attritional, isn't it, around here. Woodward out of the race now, by the way, as is Luke Maxwell, who's already said as much. He's actually criticised his own driving, but said that he's looking forward to next season. We're looking forward to having him back as well for maybe a title challenge for the final season of 2023. Jamie Bird still holds 4th place then, and this is the only battle really out there on the circuit as we cross the halfway mark, and Seth Brown is going to spoil that for the moment because he's run wide at turn 1 and drops just over a second back.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Seth Brown as well. Got a little bit, squirrely out of 1, and that unfortunately didn't set him up nicely for 2. And of course, 2, as we've seen, has claimed a lot of people here as well. Paul LeMay in race 1, Darrell Taylor, Dela Cruz, Gonzaga in race 2, and now they're all getting a little bit more spread out. It's really about whether or not Bird's going to be able to catch up with Clark. Hutchinson, I don't believe, has got the pace. He's only pulling out tenths a lap at the moment, and he needs to be pulling out more than that. He's only got 9 laps left, which is going to put him within about 3.2 seconds of LeMay. We've seen LeMay's not been a slouch, so from his point of view, for Paul LeMay, he can go and take his victory on his return here, which I think would be absolutely amazing for him.
Certainly would. So, Paul LeMay with a 4.5 second lead. Then it's John McCutcheon. Paul Clark is third, ahead of Jamie Bird, then Seth Brown, Phil Jocelyn, Michael LeMay, Mike Boosson, Tim Adcock and Phil Glover round out the top 10. That's a lot of points for Tim Adcock, who I think has only been at 1 round so far this season and didn't score many points within that as well. Just 24 to his name so far this season. So a good day for Tim Adcock overall with that one. He'll score close to 24 for this race alone. At the moment, but we'll see. Still 8 laps to go here, and Paul LeMay is very much on his own. Let's not forget that it's not really been his season. I think that there was a season, either was it last one or the one before? I think last season maybe, where he was in championship contention as an outside threat for quite some time. As we got through the halfway mark of the season and thought, 8 people could win this championship. It was really close. But the SR10 is back. He hasn't been back so much, but he's back for the finale. And maybe this is a good omen for next season for Paul LeMay.
Yeah, he's another one that, I think it was not last season, the season before. I'm not going to lie. So it would be interesting to see Paul get fit, get healthy, do a full season and see where he ends up, because I think when he does a full season it could be really, really exciting, as long as he can keep his consistency like he has done tonight. He's kept that gap to Hutch at 4.7. Hutch isn't really getting any closer. Again, a tenth over the last lap. It's not enough. So it'd be interesting to see Paul be fit, be healthy, do a full season and see where he bears up, I think, because I think, to be honest, he could be right up there with the others.
Could be. Now Michael LeMay is not far behind Phil Jocelyn here. I think he should dispatch of him pretty quickly, but Jocelyn's actually steadied the ship quite well after the start. He went absolutely nowhere on the initial launch. Don't really know why, but he dropped from 2nd to 10th before the first corner in a pretty disastrous opening lap. But he's climbed his way back up to 6th again now. Michael LeMay's right behind him, as I think Phil Glover's gone off the road, or at least he's been overtaken by Simon Edwards, who's made a very quick pit stop, quick repair, and he's back out there again, back in the top 10.
Yeah, I think he has actually just gone past. Edwards did go off. Taylor's unfortunately had another incident. And Phil Glover did just get overtaken by Simon Edwards. Phil Jocelyn on the defence from Michael LeMay here as well. So he's got to try and hold Michael LeMay back, which is going to be... Come on, son, get it hooked up. There you go. And now he's got Michael LeMay coming at him as well. So, for Michael LeMay, he's had probably a consistent season, I think, for him now as well. Another man that's made steps forward, which is always good. So hopefully he'll be able to come back even stronger next season as well.
Hopefully, we'll see what the next season brings, of course. In a couple of weeks' time, we've got week 13 off from the Radical Race Series, but it will be back again for week 1 of the iRacing season in just 2 weeks' time. What's that, 13th of September, maybe?
14th,
yes.
I believe.
14th, sorry. 14th, it is indeed. There goes Michael LeMay, by the way, down the inside of turn 8, and that's 6th place now for Michael LeMay. But yes, 14th of September is the new start date. Running all the way towards the end of November and the end of another year on iRacing here, and the end of another year in the Radical Race Series. Very interested, very excited to see what's going to develop over the course of the next season, of course, because we've had some fantastic seasons here now. And we've is it a year now on JPB
It's a
this
year. Yeah,
this
I think
series?
it's a year at the end of this season.
Yeah, I think so. I know, and that means I've been doing it for a year and a half now, and it's been absolutely fantastic. Just keeps getting better and better season on season as well. So make sure you join us when we roll around to it in a couple of weeks' time, because it's going to be fantastic to watch once again. Paul LeMay still has 4 laps left of this season remaining now. It's I believe it's 4 laps left anyway. John McCutcheon's bearing down on him, but not quickly enough, I don't think.
No, he pulled up 4 tenths last time out. Don't get me wrong, if he loses 4 tenths over the next 4 laps, he could be in a bit of danger by the time he gets to the end. But I'd be very surprised if LeMay allows that to happen. I would hope he wouldn't. Jocelyn's now got Buson bearing down on him. Michael LeMay's open up a 1.1 in front. So it's still some racing going on, which is great as we come into the last 4 laps.
There is still a little bit of racing to go, and Phil Glover has been off the road again, unfortunately, dropping a few more places further down. Mike Buson close to the inside and towards turn 2. It's better than cutting close to the outside, though, as we've seen from past experience. He will have the slipstream down the back straight, and it will be a surprise, I think, to see him not in 7th by the time they both cross the line next time.
Yeah, I think he's going to be able to get him down this Andretti, to be honest, and I'd be very surprised if Buson just doesn't get the exit out of Moss and then just runs straight at him, because he is, Jocelyn, don't get me wrong, he's going to get a little bit of a tow from Michael LeMay, and it will be very minor. Well, he's not going to get any, actually, because Michael LeMay moved over to the left and Jocelyn didn't follow, but Buson's going to send it up into 8, and I think he's going to get it done before he even gets there, just about, but he's got to put the effort in and run around the outside of 8. Oh, no.
Wow.
Oh, that was close.
That was close. Very close. Between Mike Buson and Phil Jocelyn. They were leaning on each other through turn 8. Good battle between them. But Buson prevails in the end. Buson, by the way, is looking to hold on to 4th in the drivers' standings. It was 17 points over Seth Brown at the start of the day. I think he is going to manage that, even if it's not been the greatest day for him overall. I think he's going to hang on. Jamie Bird will, of course, gain some places. George Gonzaga certainly won't have done enough, and he will probably finish the season in 7th with Gonzaga. But Buson, Brown and Bird could be in any combination of 4th, 5th and 6th by the end of the day. They've all had pretty topsy-turvy days. They've all been up and down the order. Jamie Bird had a poor first race, but he's back up there in the second one. Buson almost opposite. Seth Brown is up there in the second race. So, yeah, it's going to be quite close between them, but I think Buson will hold on to 4th.
Yeah, I think he will. I think he's just going to manage it. It's rough for Mike. As much as we love the man from Somerset, second. He took a win this season as well, if I'm not mistaken. He then pointed out that it wasn't his first win. It was back in, I don't know, ages ago, wasn't it, at Suzuka somewhere? Can't even remember what season it was. But, I don't know. With Mike, he just does so well, and then he'll have a moment, and then he'll go so well again, and then he'll have a moment. I don't know if he's got the pace of Hutch, Edwards and Maxwell, but I don't think he's too far away either. So I think next season, it could be a strong showing from Buson, hopefully.
Well, yeah, let's see what he can do in next season. Oh, John McCutcheon's is off the road. Well, any hopes of him taking a final race win to go with his championship have gone now, because John McCutcheon is off and it's Moss corner again. Such a tricky corner, and instead of trying to turn and spinning around, he's gone for the grass route. That's allowed Paul Clark to go through, and Jamie Bird's on the podium as well. It could be quite close towards the end now, as Mike Buson does get through, by the way, on Michael LeMay. This is in 7th now. So Buson's through, well, or is he? I thought he was going to get that done quite easily, and he will now, finally. But Paul LeMay's in the lead by quite some distance. With 2 laps to go, it's quite close for 3rd now.
Jamie Bird. Can Paul Clark take his first podium this season? That's going to be... Considering Paul has missed most of the season, I think to come out in the last race and possibly get a podium, I think he's done an absolutely stellar job. Just got to keep it on track as the man from iLounge Racing. I had the pleasure of meeting Paul and his lovely wife, and Paul's unit as well, where he works out of, is absolutely incredible. So if you ever get an opportunity, go up there because it is absolutely amazing. But Paul, you know, missed pretty much most of the season. I don't actually believe he's been here for much of it, has he? I think he's only done like 3 races. So for him to take the podium in his 4th one, yeah, go on, Paul, have it. I think he's done well, bless him.
When you said Paul's unit there, I thought you meant a person that Paul knew. It was a unit, but anyway.
No, his working shop, should we say, his shop that he works out of is incredible. As I say, if you haven't been up there, go and have a look at iLounge. It's amazing.
Well, up there if you are where James is from. Anyway, it's probably down there for me. But
yes, it is
anyway,
down. It's not far from Silverstone, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Okay. Nowhere's down there for James, as you may have worked out. Anyway, final lap of the season. It's been a bit of a more relaxed one up in the commentary room, I think it's fair to say. But it's been a very attritional race. 4 drivers, or 3 still in the pit lane, I should say. Darrell Taylor's come out for a little bit of a lap of honour, if you like. I think at least 8 of the drivers have been in the pit lane at some point throughout the day. But in the end, Paul LeMay's going to come out on top, and he's just got to stroke this one home now for the final 3 corners.
Yeah, and I'd like to point out as well, it might have been a relaxed one up here in the booth, but do you know what? After the 11 weeks we've had previously, I think me and you deserve it. You know, there's times when we've both been on our feet, there's times when we nearly practically had heart attacks, and there's times when the race has been so amazing that we just get so excited. So I like round 12 like this. You know, I get to sit and not have a heart attack, and I get to watch Paul LeMay come over in the for the race win. What more could I ask
it's
for?
the first time there's been any sort of relaxed feel to the final race of the day, and it's Paul LeMay who will take it. Final race of the Radical Race Series season for 2023 in Season 3, and Paul LeMay takes it just ahead of Paul Clark, who will take his only podium of the season. Jamie Bird will join him there with Seth Brown just beating champion John McCutcheon to the line, and it's the new fastest lap from the champion in waiting as well on the very last lap. 20 laps here at Motorsport certainly took its toll on the field, but in the end it's Paul LeMay who takes it. Oh, and Paul Godden and George Gonzaga have gone off the road together on this final lap.
Yeah, I think they both did it in Moss, to be honest. I'm hoping it isn't. Paul goes in hot, he spins round, Gonzaga tries to brake and stop him, and then they do end to end. So, stellar job.
Well, that was a bit of synchronicity for you at the end there, but Gonzaga and Godden will come over the line in that order. Paul Crabb is around the place somewhere as well. I think he's just behind these guys. Couple of laps down, he will finish 15th in his final race. He's actually been lapped now after the checkered flag, which is quite impressive. He's not quite taken the checkered flag yet. He's got damage as well. He might have been off. Phil Glover has also taken the line now. I think he's the final driver to finish on the lead lap, actually. This is what happened to Paul Crabb on the last lap in turn 1 by the looks of it.
Yeah, it looks like he's done the same as Darrell. Oh, he hit a bump. Ouch! Just hit a bump on as he come off the curb or one.
Yeah, he tried to counteract the spin on the grass there and did it a little bit too much, ending up in the wall entirely.
Watch this bump. He comes over here and then boom! There it is. Oh, unfortunate.
Not good for Paul Crabb, but it's not really been his season. In all honesty, he will look to return to the heights of his championships that he has won, of course, next season. Paul LeMay wins the final race of Season 3, though, ahead of Paul Clark and Jamie Bird, who will join him on the podium. Seth Brown and John McCutcheon got very close to doing it themselves. Mike Buxton finishes 6th on the day, which should secure him 4th in the driver standings by the end of the season. Michael LeMay is in the top 10 in 7th. Then it was a bit of a gap to Phil Jostin and a huge gap back to Simon Edwards, who had to come into the pit lane during that race. Sergio De La Cruz joins him inside the top 10. Tim Adcock and Phil Glover were the final drivers on the lead lap, with Paul Godden and George Gonzaga finishing 1 lap down. Paul Crabb, we just saw it come over the line there, was 3 laps down ahead of Darrell Taylor, who came out for a few laps of honour at the end there. Robert Woodward and Luke Maxwell retired quite early on there. Well, that's it for the Radical Race Series season for another time. 24 races complete over the course of 12 rounds, and in the end, John McCutcheon is your champion. In a bit of a switch up to what we normally see. Instead of talking to Phil Glover last, why don't we talk to him first? Because we're doing everything a little bit weirdly today, as it seems. Phil, welcome in. Good to have you with us first, for once as well. Tell us a little bit about that second race there, because you started off all right, then had a bit of a incident. I think it was at turn 3 maybe, where you had an incident, and then there was one on the final lap as well. What was that second race like for you?
Yeah, it was a bit of a shame, really. I thought I was going pretty well, to be honest. Sticking on the back of one or two people, but yeah, I think I can't remember where I went off. It might have been the hairpin that shoot. Oh no, it wasn't. It was coming out of the right-hander, wasn't it? Before the other straight, not the long straight. Into the wall, I think.
It was, which was a shame because you were running well up till that point. But either way, we're coming towards the end of another season, Phil. Well, we're at the end of another season, I should say. How do you sort of look back on this one overall compared to the others that we've had in the past, especially with the SR10 returning, of course?
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's been great fun. Great bunch of people to race with. I think it's been a very mixed bag for me. Mainly not a great bag. Say, actually, but that there is potential going into next season, isn't there? So, I always think, well, if you're pretty close to the back, then you're going to hopefully get better.
That is, and of course, you nearly finished in the top 10 of the standings this season, so it's not all.
Have you worked it out yet? I guess you haven't.
Well, you were 11th going into today, only 25 points off Wayne Palmer, who's not here. So I'm presuming you would have scored more than that today. In fact, I know you have. So you may have got 10th, although I'm not sure whether the likes of Paul Godden or Phil Jossie may have overtaken you.
Yeah, they did okay in those two. Oh, yeah. Mind you, Paul, the second race, I think Paul was behind me, wasn't he? Didn't he?
Yeah.
I think or something. Yeah.
Yeah, problems. Yeah, but I think Phil Jossie might just have overtaken you. So I think you'll be 11th or 12th maybe at the end of the season. So it's still a respectable.
It doesn't. I'm surprised actually, because it felt like quite a bad season for me. But when you kind of, I have made most of the rounds though, to be fair. But it's not too bad, is it?
No, absolutely, and it's about consistency. It's about averaging it out over the course of time. So yeah, it's a good season. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, Phil, before we let you go for the end of the season?
Well, just everybody really. Everybody's so helpful. They're a great bunch of people. I've met some of them, including yourself, James.
Yep.
It's been fantastic. It's always nice to put a face to people as well, isn't it? So I know we seem to live in this virtual world very well, but it's always nice to get out of the bedroom and go and meet somebody. So yeah. And thanks for you guys' support all the way through the year. Another good season from you guys. So thanks very much.
Thanks very much. It also dispels the rumour that we're all not real people, which is now we know not true. We are indeed human beings. Anyway, Phil, congratulations on another successful season and on the fringes of the top 10 by the end of it. Thanks very much for coming to chat to us over the course of the season as well. I think you're the only driver we've spoken to every round. So thanks very much for that, and we'll see you next season, hopefully.
Yeah, no problem. Look forward to it. Take care, guys. Bye.
Phil Glover there chatting to us at the end of another Radical Race Series season. Now let's go to those that finished at the front of the field, starting with the very front from race 2, Paul LeMay, who joins us here this evening. Welcome in, Paul. Good to have you with us, and good to see you on the top step of the podium at the end of the race there. I mean, John was closing on you for a little bit. He made a mistake of his own, and you were able to cruise to the end there. How was that second race overall?
Yeah, it was tough. Really enjoyed it. Very difficult to keep concentration in race 1. I was a bit nervous, really, and made a schoolboy error in that fast left-hander. And then, thankfully, in race 2, I managed to keep it all together. I knew as soon as John sort of got in a second, I started sweating profusely, thinking that's it, it's all over. But I just managed to keep it together, so I'm really pleased.
And you certainly should be as well. How do you view the season overall, Paul? Because we know you've not been here every round, but obviously you've ended on a high note here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, what races I've been in, generally I've been really pleased with my performance. Just got to sort of remove some of these silly little mistakes and really, again, work on consistent race pace. But the races that I haven't been in have been fabulous to watch. John, Simon, Luke, and anybody else who was up there. It's been a great season to watch. So, yeah, it's cool.
And what about next season? Are we going to see you watching a little bit less and driving a little bit more?
Hopefully, mate. Yeah. It would be good to do a full season. So that's the aim, and we'll see how we go.
We certainly hope so. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, Paul, before we let you go?
Yeah, just really to everyone in the league. It's an absolutely fantastic league, great bunch of guys, and yeah, I want to give a shout out to Mr. Paul Crabb as well, actually, because trying to get past him, he made it very, very hard, very, very tight. So it was good fun, but very, very close.
Absolutely. Congratulations on the win tonight,
Thanks,
Paul,
mate.
and we look forward to seeing you next season.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye.
Thanks very much. Paul LeMay there, race winner of race 2 here at Motorsport tonight. Now, you can tell it's the end of the season because there's a lot of people waiting for us at the minute. I'm spoiled for choice, to be honest. Who are we going to go for next?
I don't mind pit one.
That is the question. Yeah, go on. You surprise me and bring someone in because we've got a lot of choice tonight as to who to bring in. Jamie Bird will join us then, and welcome in, Jamie. Good to have you with us on the podium. Just about at the end of the second race there. Not far behind Paul Clark, but not far in front of Seth Brown and John McCutcheon. It was a close final few laps, but I was saying earlier on that you're getting quite good at going through the field now in these races. You started at the back twice tonight, and I think at the end of lap 2, you gained about 7 places both times. Just how have you been finding these opening laps, and how are you making so many places so early on?
By deciding to qualify badly, and then just got lucky. Both races, I just heard crew chief tell me, "Oh, you're in P2 or you're in P4," and I thought, "What?" And then exactly at that moment, that's normally when I make the mistake that sends me right down where I started from.
Well, that's what I'm glad that didn't happen in race 2 because it did in race 1, unfortunately. And I said it in the broadcast that yeah, maybe you're not so pleased that you're having to do it so many times, but you're getting quite good at it, I've got to say, coming through the field. How were the final few laps? It was a very different kind of race. So you weren't exactly making your way through the field. It was about holding on in those final few, and it was very close, but you managed to get your podium. How were the final few laps?
Yeah, it was good fun. Seth was quicker than me. I decided to change to standard gears instead of short for race 2. So I felt like I was topping out, trying to pass people in race 1, and it was the wrong way to go. I was slower out of the hairpin. So Seth was alongside me a few times, as you probably saw, and I couldn't really hang on to Paul Clark because of that. So it was good stuff. I was just lucky, really, that John had a moment and put me up there. I was just trying to hang on, and I did look at the lap count at one point. It said 11 out of 20. I thought, oh, we've been racing for about an hour, surely. Please, where's the end?
It can feel like that sometimes in the car, I suppose. Just a quick one as well, more generally on setups, because we speak about it quite often. But I want to know from a driver's point of view, just how common is it for you to do that and change something in between the two races? Because no, as a driver personally, I wouldn't like to be fiddling too much. But how often does it go on for drivers to change between race 1 and 2?
For me personally, it's rare. I was trying to find the magic bullet to get up the front even faster, knowing that I was at the back. But yeah, it's a rare one, to be honest. I mean, probably like yourself, you stick with what you've got and just plough through it.
It worked out all right in the end. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, Jamie, before we let you go this season?
Both you guys, you and James, you've done a great job again this season, and thanks to everybody who runs the league as well. It's a cracking league, it's the best out there in iRacing, I think, and yeah, the same for all the drivers I race against. It's clean, it's good fun, and it's what Thursdays are made for at the moment.
Jamie,
yes,
quick
absolutely.
question before you go.
Go on.
What does the JPB mean on the front of your car?
Glad you asked, James. It doesn't mean you, unfortunately, mate. It's in it. I copied the 70s Shadow livery for Formula 1 cars, but changed UOP to JPB because that's my son's initials, my 6-year-old lad.
Oh, well, There we go. Okay, Jamie, thank you.
If you want to believe it's me sponsoring you, then that's cool too.
Well, technically, it should be me sponsoring you if my name's on the car. But we'll talk about it after if we're going to go down that road, Jamie, of course, as well. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, but I did say a couple of times it meant JPB throughout the season. But
I believed it.
Yeah, why not?
I believed it, but sadly not. Dreams crushed at the end of the season there for us. Jamie, thanks very much for chatting to us, and we'll see you next season.
Yes, Ewan. Thanks, James. Bye.
Take care, mate.
Thanks very much. Well, that's a disappointing end to that interview, isn't it? But anyway, we won't be inviting Jamie Bird back, but we will, of course. But anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to our. Should we go on to our champion? I know he didn't have the best of results today, but he's had some good results over the season. So let's have a chat to John McCutcheon, who joins us now. Welcome in, John. Good to have you with us. Fifth in the second race and a DNF pretty much for the first race. Unfortunately, it's a difficult circuit, isn't it? But how did you find it overall?
It's difficult, and it's even worse when you're trying to watch football at the same time. That distracted me on race 1, and then we went 3-1 down, so I turned it off after that. So it's all good for race 2.
I saw the score, so I can imagine you did turn it off. So I'm sorry about that. But anyway, in terms of back through the field again, just how hard was it? Because people associate this circuit with the corners and the high-speed nature of it, all of that challenge, but there is a fairly sizable back straight to this circuit as well. Just how difficult or not was it?
At the start, everyone in front of me seemed to be spinning off or getting hit off, or so I was making up positions without passing anyone. And then it was a bit of a draft train for a while, and then it split up, and I managed to pick 2 or 3 off on the straight. And then Paul took Simon out, or Simon took Paul out, I don't know, and I'm in P2, and I'm like, this could happen, last to first, but Paul and me had great pace tonight, so congrats to him, and they held it well together.
Absolutely, congrats to him. By the way, you've just posted the next season's schedule in the Discord, by the way. What do you make of it on first impressions?
That's the first time I've looked at it. It looks okay. I've not driven Jerez or Magny Cours, and I don't like VIR, so we'll see.
Were you not at Jerez this season?
No, we were. Oh, it was Spa 24 at the same time, wasn't it? The 24 hour at Spa.
Is the schedule out already?
Aye?
Yes, it's in. I didn't know where to find it actually, so I'm glad John's posted it because we can see it now and we can have a look. But yes, we'll talk about that a little bit in a few moments' time. But is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, John, before we let you go for this season?
I'll shout out to all the guys in the race series in the league. The racing every week's fantastic, and it's always fair racing, hard but fair. And there's a good camaraderie amongst the guys. And congrats to Darrow and his admin team for all the work they do behind it. And of course, you two guys. And I'd like to shout out to the 3 sponsors as well, Paul Clark, Paul Gordon and Dan Webster. The guys, they don't have to do this kind of thing, so it's much appreciated from them.
Yes, certainly is. John, congratulations on the title. I know you've known for quite some time that you were obviously champion this season, but it's now official, of course. Congratulations on that, and we look forward to seeing your title defence next season.
Thanks, Ewan.
Take care,
Thanks very much.
Good night. Bye, guys.
Chatting to us after the final race at Motorsport this evening, our champion this season, of course. Let's go to... who should we go for now? We've got a couple more. Simon Edwards and Paul Gordon are still there waiting for us. So we'll bring in Simon Edwards now. Welcome in, Simon. Good to have you with us once again. Race 2, unfortunately, didn't end in the wall for you because you did get back to the top 10 again. But unfortunately, there was a bit of an incident about halfway around that. Just tell us what it was like from your perspective, that incident.
It was murdered. No, it's. I thought I'd got enough pace there to have passed Paul, but I gave him room, but he just drifted a little bit wide and just clipped my back end. I thought I'd saved it, and then him trying to save himself clipped my back end again, and that was it. I was gone.
Was it Paul or Michael? I thought it was Michael.
No, it was Paul Crabb. Paul Crabb.
Yeah, Paul Crabb. Yeah,
it
was.
Okay.
It's easy for us to misremember these things, to be fair, because
fine.
we're watching everybody. But there we are. Kind of unfortunate, actually, the way the wall sticks out there, because I think it did a lot more damage to you than maybe it would have otherwise. But anyway, it doesn't matter too much, I guess, at the end of the day. What are your reflections on this season as a whole here, Simon? Because obviously you came close to the championship again, but it wasn't quite to be your season. John, just about getting that one ahead of you. But how do you reflect on this season as a whole?
I've enjoyed it, really. I just need to get back some of my consistency, and I should be able to challenge next season.
Well, we certainly hope so. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, Simon, before we let you go?
We'll give out a shout out to the organisers, Daryl and so forth, and the sponsors as well. Got a few, Dan. We've got the other Paul Clark, and I think we've got somebody else as well, but I've forgotten. It's the one who gives out all the. It's Paul, the other Paul, isn't it?
Paul Godden.
Paul Godden, that's it. My brain went blank for a minute. Paul Godden. It's a lovely trophy as well.
There's loads of Pauls, but anyway, I know what you mean. But Simon, congratulations on another successful season in second place in the standings at the end of it, and we look forward to seeing you return next season.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care.
Thanks very much, Simon Edwards. Their second place this season in the Radical Race Series, Season 3. Just one more interview before we sign off for the evening, and it's Paul Godden who is now joining us. Welcome in, Paul. Good to have you with us. I believe, by the way, it was you on the last lap with George Gonzaga there, wasn't it? Having a bit of a kerfuffle at the final few corners on that last lap. I think it was you and him. What was going on there on the last lap?
Yeah, evening guys. Coming to that corner, and I was really struggling tonight with top end speed. So I was like, right, I need to have a really good run onto the last straight, because obviously he's going to get me up the back straight. So I just ran that tad wide, hit the grass, and thought, oh, that's it, it's game over. And then as I was spinning, I could see on my right hand side that he was spinning as well. So I think he just spun trying to avoid hitting me, and we both spun together. And then he stopped on the last corner to let me through for some reason, which I'm not too sure why. But it was good fun when we were obviously both at the back of the pack. So it was good fun to have a couple of laps racing with each other.
We're at the end of another season, of course. Paul, how have you found this one overall?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed this season. Actually, it's some races have been better than others. I've struggled with a car at some tracks, which I need to look into for next season and work out while I was off the pace which I would normally be happy with. I think it's more to do with the setup. Like tonight I was just really slow on the straight line for some reason, and I was giving away all my time. So I had a really good start, and thought one of my goals tonight was, if I got it on pole, was to lead a lap and not crash or do something stupid like I normally do by outbraking myself, which I done that. And then after that they all started coming past me on the straight, and I thought I could try and battle them a little bit, but overall I'm just gonna lose it with them. So it was just a case of damage limitation and see where I ended up, which unfortunately I hit the wall and that was it. But overall it's been really enjoyable. There's been I think this is one of the leagues where I've been racing in the middle of the pack, front of the pack, and at the back of the pack. Looking at the times tonight, everyone seems to improve this season. Like we were probably 3-4 seconds off the pace, but tonight we're about maximum like 2 seconds off the pace. So everyone's really improved this season, which has made the racing really good for everyone on the grid rather than just the front guys.
And before we let you go as well, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to here, Paul?
Yeah, I'd always like to shout out to Daryl and the organisers for putting on a great series, because there's no bad chat and everyone gets on and has fun with each other as well, on and off the track. Obviously, yourself and James are doing a great broadcast. It's always great to watch it back and see where we went wrong or right the following day. And then lastly to all the drivers, because without them you wouldn't have the great series that we've got, and it's really great to see that everyone sticks around. Although we've had a tough time with the summer months and everyone being away, hopefully coming into the autumn and the winter now we should get a bit more regular drivers and maybe some new people for next season, and it'll be another great series for everyone to watch and also participate in.
Absolutely. We look forward to it, of course, and hopefully we'll see you there, Paul. Congratulations on another season in the Radical Race Series, of course, and it'd be good to have you here, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks for the first round.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks very much. Paul Godden there at the end of another season. Speaking of Darrell Taylor, by the way, you mentioned it. He was in the waiting room a moment ago, but he's gone. So we're not chatting to Darrell Taylor, apparently.
I think that's because he saw the list. There was like loads of them.
Maybe. He thought, it's like when you see a queue for the toilet, think, I'm not waiting for that.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Darrell Taylor has thought there. So hopefully we'll chat to him at some point next season, but it's been good to see him back up there challenging for podiums again for Darrell, even if the second race didn't go quite so well here tonight. At the end of another season then, James, it's been great to be here once again. As I mentioned earlier, it's the first time in 9 months we've had a race where nothing's on the line for the championship, and that says a lot about this great series. We've had a lot of fun this season, and John McCutcheon, the deserving champion at the end of it.
Yeah, he definitely was. John's been consistent all season, so, at the end of the day, he deserved what he got. Looking forward to next season. There's some racetracks on there that I am not looking forward to, I've got to be honest. Nürburgring again at the end. I'm hoping that might change. I might try and persuade Darrell to get rid of Magny-Cours and Jerez maybe, and try and put something else in. I don't know. Motorsport's on there again as well. We've just been there, so I don't know. Change the calendar up, Darrell. Change it up.
There's a lot of returning circuits, I've got to say. We've had Road Atlanta this season, haven't we? And that's coming back again. We've had Oulton Park quite regularly recently. That's back again. And the final four rounds are very familiar. Jerez is back on again. Bathurst is week 10. Then it's Mosport. Then Nordschleife for the final 4 weeks. So that's a very familiar ending to the season. But if we've got a title fight by that point, we won't care one bit. I've got to say, it will be absolutely fantastic. Make sure you join us for it and subscribe to the JPB YouTube channel. To start off the season, it will be Donington Park, and we will be live with that race, of course, in 2 weeks' time. We're on for another season of the Radical Race Series once again, and we're absolutely delighted to be there as well. A thank you to everyone who's watched tonight and over the course of this season as well. It's been a pleasure to have you along for this one. It's been a memorable one, but John McCutcheon is the champion. 3 times now champion of this series. Can he make it a 4th? Come back to the JPB YouTube channel in a couple of weeks' time to find out. The first week will be live from Donington Park on the 14th of September, so make sure you join us then. But for now, from me, Ewan O'Leary, and James Parfitt, and everyone at JPB, until the next season in a couple of weeks' time, it's goodbye for now.